Hi, I'm Naresh, and welcome to Team 8's presentation on Benlysta. My teammates are Frank, Juan, and Dave. Here's some background on Benlysta. It is a GSK product. It was approved in March 2011, used as a treatment for SLE or lupus. It works by inhibiting the B cell activation factor. Since Benlysta is a treatment for lupus, let's see what lupus is. Lupus is an autoimmune disease, and it causes severe inflammation in different parts of the body. Symptoms include unexplained rashes, fever, and fatigue. About 1.5 million Americans and 5 million people worldwide suffer from lupus. Here are some facts about the company GSK, which owns Benlysta. GSK is market leader in pharmaceuticals with over 300 years of rich history and impressive financial and CSR numbers. GSK Pharmaceutical Division focuses on 6 research areas, namely oncology, infectious disease, immunoinflammation, respiratory, vaccine, and other pharmaceuticals. Benlysta is part of their immunoinflammation portfolio. Main competitors are Roche, Novartis, Pfizer, Merck, and AstraZeneca. GSK holds an impressive portfolio and pipeline with 79 prescription brands, 31 trademark vaccines, 21 customer healthcare products, and 65 candidates in its pipeline. Let's take a look at GSK's pharmaceutical turnover. It grossed over 17 billion pounds in pharmaceuticals in 2018. It is interesting to note that immunoinflammation is the smallest portion of the turnover, but it is the fastest growing portion. The growth is being led by Benlysta. GSK's strengths. Strong R&D is its strength. It invested close to 4 billion pounds in 2018 in its R&D efforts. It has 11,000 employees that are directly working on R&D and has a rich pipeline. Another strength is GSK's portfolio. It is rich and well diversified with over 100 different branded pharmaceutical products and 21 popular consumer brands. GSK's huge free cash flow and strong profits are also its strength. GSK's weaknesses are controversies, legal violations in China market manipulations in UK, and tax issues in US hurt company's brand image. Other weaknesses are restricted label use for Benlysta and patent expirations. GSK has lots of opportunities. One of the biggest opportunities is global growth. GSK's global presence, expertise, and huge sums of free cash flow brings worldwide growth opportunities through mergers, acquisitions, and strategic partnerships. Benlysta offers a first-to-market advantage opportunity, being only approved SLE treatment. And there's also an opportunity for true innovation. Availability of huge sums of genetic data offers opportunity to shift from slight enhancement model to true innovation. Threats for GSK. Increasing pricing pressure is a threat due to shifting political policies and regulatory landscape. Increasing generic competition due to patent expiration. Another threat is slower future growth due to economic slowdown in Europe and Asia. Now Dave will share Benlysta's R&D story with us. Thank you.
The research and development process for Benlysta started back in 1992, when researchers for the Human Genome Sciences and the Institute for Genomic Research were working on DNA sequencing. In May of 1998, HES identified the BLYS gene in a patent. In October 2000, a human single-chain antibody was discovered that bound to the BLYS gene and disrupted the interaction with cognitive cellular receptors. This antibody will later become Benlysta. It was after this when researchers identified the correlation between patients with systematic lupus and elevated BLYS levels. This resulted in studies using antibody in mice and monkeys that had lupus, and it showed promising results. So in November 2001, HES conducted phase 1 clinical trials in 70 humans with mild or moderate SLE disease, and it proved for Benlysta to be safe in humans. In September 2003, phase 2 clinical started with patients with SLE and rheumatoid arthritis. The rationale for rheumatoid arthritis trial was based on favorable results with the BLYS antagonist in murine collagen-induced arthritis, which is a form of rheumatoid arthritis. The clinical trial consisted of 283 patients. 29% experienced a clinical response to treat rheumatoid arthritis. However, 16% experienced a clinical response with the placebo. This resulted in HES to no longer pursue Benlysta as a treatment for rheumatoid arthritis. Then HES started a 1-year clinical trial with 449 patients for the treatment of lupus. This is when GSK exercised their option to develop Benlysta. Phase 2 was unsuccessful in producing expected results in reducing flare-ups and disease activity. However, it was later determined that phase 2 had a faulty design. Patients were only required to have a history of a positive anti-nuclear antibody test to enter the phase. Instead, it was determined that patients need a current positive anti-nuclear antibody test. After this was identified, patients that were treated with Benlysta had experienced better responses than those treated with placebo. So in February 2007, phase 3 started. This consisted of 2 trials, Bliss 52 and Bliss 76. Bliss 52 had 865 patients from Latin America, the Asia Pacific, and Eastern European regions. Patients were given a low dose experienced a 16% response rate, where patients that were given a higher dose experienced a 32% response rate. With Bliss 76, they had 819 patients from North America, Central America, and European regions. Patients that were given the low dose of 1 milligram per kilogram experienced a response rate of 41%, and patients that were given a higher dose of 10 milligrams per kilogram experienced a response rate of 43%. So in June 2007, GSK submitted their biologic license application. Then in March 9, 2011, Benlysta was approved by the FDA for the treatment of adult patients with active autoantibody positive and systematic lupus who are receiving standard therapy. Intellectual property. While there are separate patents that relate to Benlysta, we will focus on 2. First is U.S. Patent 6403770, which was originally filed in June 8, 2000 by HES, and it expires June 8, 2020. This patent relates to the novel neutrophil alpha, which was the original name of the BLYS gene. The second patent, U.S. patent number 7879328, was originally filed on February 10, 2005, and expires February 10, 2025. This patent covers the antibodies that bind to the BLYS gene, Benlysta. Because this patent expires in 6 years, other companies could attempt to make a generic version of Benlysta.
Hi, my name is Vaughn Greer. I'll cover the regulatory approval and the pricing for Benlysta. There are several indications that's approved for. The primary one we'll discuss is the SLE version, which launched in March 2011. However, there's other indications for that are also underway, some further than others, but that is summarized here in the table on the right, including the lupus nephritis and the multiple sclerosis, renal disease, et cetera, et cetera. The primary formulations for the SLE option are the subcutaneous IV and the intravenous infusion option. In terms of clinical endpoints and study design, is based off of 4 successful clinical trials that was conducted, and the main primary outputs that they were looking for was the assessment of remission. And on the right here indicates the primary endpoints. It's a 3-pronged elements listed here on the right. And these were randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. In terms of efficacy, in the orange is indicating the success of the Benlysta over the placebo-controlled patients in all cases across the study, and mostly 52 weeks, and in one case it was 76 weeks, or 72 weeks, indicated that it was successful over that time period. In terms of side effects, there are many common ones that were associated with, but it also supports what the clinical studies observed was around nausea and diarrhea primarily. There were some black box warning to be make note of, and there is more in the case of the Benlysta, there was a case of mortality, so there was a death that occurred in 0.8% of patients, as well as there was some infections from serious infections and hypersensitivity reactions and infusion reactions to make note of. So now if we switch to pricing, we'll look at Benlysta compared to its competitors. The study identified there's around $35,000 per year for Benlysta, with the formulations listed below. And the competitors were Plaquenil and Quinprox. It was approximately $3,500 more than those options. And the hydrochloroxone, or was around $2,800. And the prednisone, the generics, it was considerably more expensive than that. The pricing analysis identified that Benlysta has a patent thicket as well as evergreening activities from GSK and HGS that is thought to believe to drive up the cost. There is patent expirations that are in the U.S. around 2025. So the thought is that they're trying to protect their investment from their discovery of the BLS, which is set to expire in 2025. So until that time, they're looking to exploit the market with their patent protection. These are the key competitors, and then the pharmaceutical companies that do make their drugs. They also carry some of the similar side effects, including dizziness and diarrhea, headache, sore throat, and numbness. In terms of sales, Benlysta has been successful, but it has not yet been a blockbuster. But it is forecasted to be a blockbuster in around 2023 or 2024, reaching over $1 billion sales annually. But they did reach around $615 million in 2018, and most of that was driven through U.S. The competitor sales was only reached around $60 million, but still competitive, and that was for the prednisone made by Merck. And now I'll turn it over to Frank for reimbursement.
Now, with regards to reimbursement for Benlysta. Benlysta is a tier 4 prescription drug. This is the prescription drug tier, which consists of higher cost drugs. It consists mostly of brand name prescription drugs and some specialty drug formulations. In the USA, the drug is covered by private insurance and Medicare. With respect to private insurance, coverage varies from one insurance to the other. Aetna, for instance, considers Benlysta intravenous administration medically necessary for the treatment of adult and pediatric patients aged 5 years or older, or subcutaneous injection in adults aged 18 years or older with active systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE, and positive autoantibody test. On the other hand, Blue Cross Blue Shield considers medically necessary for patients who are 18 years of age or older for the treatment of active autoantibody positive systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE. A search on Blue Cross Blue Shield website reveals it doesn't cover Benlysta for pediatrics. Despite these differences, there are a lot of similarities with coverage exclusions among private insurance companies in the USA. Now, marketing of Benlysta. GSK uses its website to market Benlysta as the best option for the treatment of SLE. Through its website, physicians and patients are updated on the development of the drug. GSK also updates all its stakeholders and other interested parties on the steps it is taking to receiving authorization by regulatory bodies such as the FDA. This is to show that its drugs and other products are of the highest standards and they do not cut corners. GSK also employs social media such as Facebook and LinkedIn page, where consumers and physicians can interact with company officials and learn more about Benlysta. Now, with regards to target marketing, GSK targets patients suffering from SLE and people with family members or friends with SLE and rheumatologists involved in the treatment of SLE. In order to overcome the barriers of adoption in this market segment, GSK provides its target audience with safety information regarding the drug, the side effect of the drug, and some measures which can be taken to reduce the side effects. Through its website and social media accounts, GSK provides a platform which educates consumers directly and sheds light on the effectiveness of Benlysta. GSK therefore makes the drug known to consumers and dispel myths and misconceptions that may arise. Thank you.